One fine morning, we see Bubble Bass along with his mother at the Krusty Krab for breakfast. Squidward and SpongeBob already knew that Bubble Bass had eaten at this very same place just an hour ago, but here he was again, coming back to eat with his mom. Of course, the whole reason Bubble Bass brought his mom to the restaurant was so that she would be the one paying for everything. Bubble Bass nudges his mother toward a table and tells her to wait there. Then, without wasting any time, he pulls out his order list from inside his tongue. As usual, Bubble Bass is extremely picky and difficult when it comes to ordering food, and that's exactly why Squidward can't stand him. He makes working a total nightmare. After all of his ridiculous requests are finally taken care of, Bubble Bass immediately tells his mom to go pay for the entire order. Meanwhile, he goes off to sit at someone else's table, the one he just kicked out. Not long after, his mom brings over all the food, but Bubble Bass already has the same thing in front of him, so he makes his mom go buy him another one. At this point, his mom has had enough of his disrespectful attitude. She finally snaps. She's done putting up with his bratty behavior. She literally pulls out her own tongue in frustration, unable to take it anymore. She tells Bubble Bass that he needs to get a job and earn his own money so he can buy his own food. No more free rides. From now on, she's not buying him anything. Bubble Bass panics when he hears this, but he agrees to work at the Krusty Krab. Mr. Krabs overhears this and quickly rushes into his office, scribbling "no help needed" on the back of the door. But his mom shoots that down immediately. She says the workers here are all good people and Bubble Bass just wouldn't fit in, so she drags him out to find a job somewhere else. Coincidentally, at that very moment, the Chum bucket has a help wanted sign out front, so his mom takes him straight inside. Meanwhile, Plankton is sunbathing under a light bulb. His mom walks up to Plankton and asks if it's true that he's hiring. Then Karen shows up and reveals that she was the one who posted the ad. She's completely exhausted from doing everything around the place. At first, Plankton doesn't want to hire a new server, but Karen is too tired to argue. She drags him over to interview Bubble Bass. Sitting down at the table, Karen starts asking Bubble Bass some questions about his work experience, but his mom answers every single question for him. She tells Karen that Bubble Bass has never worked a day in his life. He just lazes around at home. She also admits he doesn't take care of his hygiene, but hey, he has a good heart and he loves his mom. After a few more questions, Bubble Bass is officially hired as the new waiter at the Chum bucket. Karen and his mom then head off to the beach to have some fun, leaving Plankton to train Bubble Bass on how things work at the restaurant. Fast forward, we see Plankton already standing by the Chum grinder. Bubble Bass's only job is to push the Chum down into the machine. Everything else is automated with fancy machinery, so it should be pretty easy. Bubble Bass is pumped. This looks like a piece of cake. But as soon as Plankton leaves, Bubble Bass struggles. The Chum is so sticky that it clings to the push stick and he just can't get it down. Eventually, he loses his grip, the stick falls in, and Bubble Bass ends up falling in too. Now he has to go through the entire processing line. Halfway through, his massive rear end gets stuck and won't fit into the next stage. The machine clogs up and boom, huge explosion. Plankton rushes out to see what happened and is shocked to find Chum splattered everywhere. He's furious and fires Bubble Bass on the spot. Bubble Bass panics. If he gets fired, he won't be able to buy Krabby Patties anymore. He begs Plankton not to fire him. Plankton perks up at the mention of Krabby Patties, and because Bubble Bass is a true foodie, a brilliant idea pops into Plankton's head. So here's the plan. Plankton will send Bubble Bass to the Krusty Krab to buy a Krabby Patty. Meanwhile, Plankton will hide inside Bubble Bass's stomach. Once the patty goes in, Bubble Bass will stop it and hand it over to Plankton. Then Plankton can study it and finally get the secret formula, and with that, take over the world. Bubble Bass asks what's in it for him. Plankton promises him an endless supply of Krabby Patties, so much that Bubble Bass can eat to his heart's content. With that deal sealed, Plankton hops into his mini-submarine and flies straight into Bubble Bass's mouth. Fast forward again, Bubble Bass finally arrives at the Krusty Krab. But before stepping inside, he's super nervous. Plankton, already inside him, tries to calm him down and tells him to act natural so nobody gets suspicious. When he gets to the register sweating buckets, Bubblebase orders just one Krabby Patty. That immediately raises red flags for both Spongebob and Squidward. Normally, Bubblebase buys a huge stack of Krabby Patties every single day without fail. To throw them off, Bubblebase lashes out angrily at the two employees. Spongebob hands over one Krabby Patty, but since Bubblebase has zero money on him, he asks Plankton to pay for it. Then he swallows the patty whole down into his digestive system, where Plankton gets squashed by it. Plankton manages to grab the patty, though. But now, Bubblebase's stomach is moving around like crazy, and Squidward immediately reports it to Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs comes over, listens closely to Bubblebase's belly, and finally figures it out. Plankton is hiding inside Bubblebass. So Mr. Krabs peers into Bubblebass's mouth and spots Plankton hiding in there. He immediately calls Spongebob, who is already ready in his swim trunks. Spongebob dives right into Bubblebass's mouth to retrieve the Krabby Patty before Plankton can escape with it. Inside, Spongebob sees Plankton absolutely ecstatic because he finally has the Krabby Patty and is about to take over the world. SpongeBob won't let that happen. The moment Plankton spots SpongeBob, he makes a run for it through the emergency exit. SpongeBob chases after him. Meanwhile, outside, Mr. Krabs is trying to check on Bubblebase because his stomach is moving all over the place. Inside, Plankton is desperately looking for a safe spot, running through all sorts of internal organs. Now the chase leads them through the heart. Both of them are tossed around inside, neither willing to give up. Bubblebase's body is clearly suffering from all the chaos going on inside him. The chase then moves into the brain. SpongeBob trips over some brain tissue and falls multiple times. Outside, Bubblebass feels every single hit. His whole body is glitching out like crazy because SpongeBob keeps bumping into his brain. Mr. Krabs and Squidward are absolutely terrified by what they're seeing. They both hightail it out of there to find safety. At this point, things are completely out of control. Deep inside, Plankton can't run anymore. He's now standing at the edge of a cliff. Instead of backing down, he taunts SpongeBob, telling him he'll never get the Krabby Patty back. But clever SpongeBob opens up Plankton's mini-sub, grabs Plankton himself, and eats him. The mini-robot sub drops into the stomach pit along with the Krabby Patty, which means Bubblebase finally gets to taste that patty as it enters his digestion. After that, Bubblebase spits SpongeBob back out. Mr. Krabs panics, thinking Plankton might have already stolen the formula. But SpongeBob reassures him the Krabby Patty wasn't stolen, it just fell into Bubblebase's digestive system. Mr. Krabs is relieved, and now Plankton is trapped inside. Bubblebass leaves the Krusty Krab, determined to find another job so he can buy more Krabby Patties. Plankton begs SpongeBob to let him out. Hearing that, Mr. Krabs and SpongeBob burst out laughing. SpongeBob then heads to the bathroom to do his business, so Plankton can finally be released from inside him.
The movie begins with Squidward sitting cross-legged like a grumpy monk, trying so hard to find inner peace and silence in his little house. Everything feels calm, until suddenly a thunderous bang explodes out of nowhere, shocking him so much that his incense burns twice as fast. His meditative instantly turns into an R of pure frustration. Annoyed and completely done with life, Squidward stomps out of his house to see who dares disturb his sacred peace. Outside, he finds two garbage collectors yelling and tossing trash around like they're in some kind of heavy metal concert. Of course, Squidward, being Squidward, starts yelling at them too. He angrily tells them to dump the garbage inside the truck, not all over his perfect front yard. His voice drips with sarcasm and Class A attitude, which obviously doesn't sit well with the two trash guys. They exchange glances, offended by Squidward's rudeness. As soon as Squidward returns to his house, mumbling under his breath, the two garbage men grin mischievously. "Oh, you want trash?" one of them says. "Let's give him trash." And without hesitation, they drive the truck right up to Squidward's door and dump the entire mountain of garbage inside his house, until it's packed from floor to ceiling. Fast forward 6 months later, at the Krusty Krab, the place is packed tighter than sardines in a tin. Hungry customers line up like a never-ending parade, all craving their beloved Krabby Patties. SpongeBob is behind the counter doing 2 jobs at once: flipping patties and manning the register. Because, well, Squidward has been missing in action for half a year. At first, everything goes smoothly. SpongeBob even enjoys the challenge, juggling spatulas like a circus star. But as the orders pile up faster than he can blink, his brain and body start melting from exhaustion. Still, with his unstoppable optimism, he keeps smiling, serving every last hungry fish with his usual "I'm ready" energy, until finally he collapses flat on the floor like a deflated jellyfish. Mr. Krabs rushes out, yelling, "Get up, boyo!" Money waits for no sponge. SpongeBob groans, explaining he's only had 5 minutes of rest in 6 months. Between deep breaths, he complains that he's been doing 2 jobs ever since Squidward vanished. Mr. Krabs blinks, surprised. He had no clue Squidward hadn't shown up in half a year. Determined to find his grumpy neighbour, SpongeBob sets out after work that night, dragging Patrick along. When they reach Squidward's house, they freeze. The place is buried under heaps of trash, reeking so bad even the flies look dizzy. SpongeBob knocks on the door, and the entire wall of garbage nearly collapses on them. They enter cautiously and are stunned to see mountains of junk piled up to the ceiling. Somewhere between the banana peels and old clarinets, they run into Bubble Bass, who explains he's been treasure hunting there for months. Apparently, he's looking for rare collectibles hidden among the filth. SpongeBob asks if he's seen Squidward, but Bubble Bass shrugs. He's been too busy sniffing out action figures and crusty sandwiches. SpongeBob and Patrick leave and continue searching through what now looks like an endless trash world. Piles upon piles stretch across the land. At one point, Patrick climbs a garbage mountain, finds a toilet, and decides it's the perfect place to sit. He asks SpongeBob to hand him a newspaper, but when SpongeBob tries, his short arms can't reach, sending both of them tumbling into a river of sludge. Luckily, they grab onto a floating plank, drifting downstream until they spot someone surfing across the waste. For a brief moment, they enjoy the ride, until they realize they're heading straight for a bottomless pit. They jump off just in time, splashing into another disgusting puddle. Patrick is ready to give up, but SpongeBob spots a group of sea urchins playing cards nearby. That gives him an idea, a brilliantly dumb one as usual. They decide to distract the urchins with a fake show. While the urchins are laughing, SpongeBob steals the deck of cards, and Patrick grabs their snacks, smashing them in the process. Turns out, the cards were part of a bridge. Without them, the urchin's structure collapses. SpongeBob quickly rebuilds it into a new bridge that connects to another area. The urchins get angry and shoot sharp spikes at them, but our heroes manage to cross safely, although Patrick now has a spine sticking out of his butt. Soon after, they meet Bubble Bass again, who warns them that traps lie ahead. Indeed, the next obstacle is a field of stinky socks, hundreds of them, radiating odors powerful enough to make onions cry. Gagging and gasping, SpongeBob and Patrick push through, crawling and coughing until they finally reach a large wooden door. When they push it open, the rotten planks give way, and they fall straight into a pool of murky water. After splashing around, they find themselves in a giant cavern filled with garbage sculptures, including a massive statue of Squidward made entirely of trash. As they approach, Bubble Base suddenly reappears, declaring that this place is now King Squidward's kingdom. According to him, Squidward has built an empire out of garbage, ruling over it like some kind of smelly monarch. SpongeBob and Patrick, both wide-eyed and confused, head deeper inside to confirm the further they go, the stronger the stench gets. Then, from the shadows, they finally see him, Squidward himself, sitting quietly, head down, soaking in filthy water. But something's off. He slowly lifts his head, grabs a toilet plunger like it's a trumpet, and starts playing eerie music. SpongeBob realizes the horrible truth. The smell has driven Squidward completely insane. His brain's been scrambled by months of trash fumes. SpongeBob tries to snap him out of it, reminding him of his job, his clarinet, his friends. But Squidward just stares blankly. Patrick, in his usual genius way, decides the best solution is to smack Squidward repeatedly until his memory comes back. Surprisingly, it works. Bit by bit, Squidward starts remembering everything. His job at the Krusty Krab, his neighbours, his old miserable life. He looks around in disbelief at the garbage kingdom he's built. Patrick lights a candle to brighten the room, not realising the air is full of gas. Boom! The entire house explodes, launching it high into the sky like a trashy rocket, with poor Bubble Base still trapped inside, waving goodbye in panic. SpongeBob cheers as Squidward finally regains his sanity. Squidward, however, stares sadly at the empty space where his home used to be. In the end, SpongeBob and Patrick wave farewell and head home, leaving Squidward sitting alone, wrapping himself up in a trash can like a sad burrito. And thus, the film comes to an end, with a moral no one asked for. Never underestimate angry garbage men, or the power of bad smells.